3 of Global Music Match, and we're so pleased to be talking to Darling West, who are from Norway. The last time that we talked to Darling West was over in New Orleans when we were both at the Folk Alliance International Conference. And now it's so nice to talk to you again. How are you guys?
Likewise. We're good.
Yep, doing well. Great to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
How random that we ended up in the same group for the
know.
Global Music Match.
I know,
That's pretty
so
cool.
Serendipitous.
Yeah.
To start off, we just wanted to ask you about how you guys first started as a band, because we were reading about you guys, and we saw that you guys were a couple before you were a band, and then you started playing music together, and then this Darling West formed. How did that all come about?
Yeah, we were a couple for a few years before we started a musical project together. Tor was very skeptical about working together.
Yeah, I feel like I just have to explain, but the thing is, I've been working as a musician for quite some time, playing for other artists, and I just at that time I thought it would be very challenging to be working together as well as being together. So that was what I was thinking, and
Yeah.
that's why I was skeptical.
And I think that's fair. It could have not worked out,
Yeah.
but it really it worked out really well. But I at that time I didn't even play an instrument. I sang just a little because I'm used to singing from my family loves music. So it was not, I don't blame you for not wanting to start a new band with someone who didn't even play an instrument. But at one point, when I was, I think, 28, this is an inspirational speech for people that think that it's too late, because it's never too late. So I bought a mandolin and started to practice a little. And we like to go up in the mountains for vacation. And one of those trips that we did was to a really simple cabin, no water, no electricity, not much to do. And we sat down trying to play some fiddle tunes on banjo and mandolin. And a melody just appeared, and then the lyrics for it, and we had our first song, and it felt really good working and writing together like that.
And what's the story behind your band name?
Well, that was on that same cabin trip, because after the next day after we wrote the melody, we went out to pick blueberries, and I get bored really fast doing that, so I was kind of being grumpy, just sitting around while Mari was running like crazy picking blueberries.
I love it.
And I started. It's up in the mountains, and it's it's just insanely beautiful up there. So I started writing some lyrics, and that turned into that first song, which is called "Darling West." And later on, when we realized we were actually going to be a band, we wrote down a bunch of different suggestions, and that's the one that stuck. So it's based on the song.
Yeah,
And
that's great.
yeah.
So it's our first song that we wrote together.
Yeah.
That's cute,
Yeah.
but also so hard finding a band name.
We were wondering, as a couple duo, if that rules relationship and love songs out. And we were listening to your music, and it sounds like you do sing love songs. And how does this work?
Right. It's a really good question.
Yeah, it is. It's sort of fun and weird to be on stage and present these songs, especially older songs there's a lot of heartbreak, and I wrote a song called Loneliness, and there's all this stuff. So Mari always has to ensure the audience we're actually doing okay as a couple. But I mean, of course, we have experiences from before we met, and I also, or we take a lot of inspiration for songwriting from meeting other people and hearing their stories. So it's fairly easy when, at least when writing, to distance yourself from and kind of put yourself in the mood.
Yeah.
But it's a bit more weird when we actually play those songs live, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you
The
think?
heartbreak songs.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
You kind of touched on it before, about nature and being in nature and writing songs in nature, and we read that on your 2018 album you brought in, it said Norwegian tradition into the songs, and influence from the nature and the mountains that you live near. Does the natural world inspire your songwriting?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so. We hardly ever write any songs in our apartment in Oslo.
We were watching
Yeah.
some videos, and the landscape's so stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's
very.
we're really lucky to have people with cabins that we can borrow up in the mountains. So
Wow.
we normally when we go to write, we retreat to that kind of environment to get some space and quiet to get the work done.
We're similar, actually. We
Yeah.
like to go out into the bush, the Australian, like, we went on a songwriting retreat a couple of times out in central Victoria, which is really bushy, and it's an awesome place to write. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Oh,
was
that sounds
very
amazing.
inspiring. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you write songs together?
Yes, we do, but usually one of us will have an idea first. So either, well, I guess most of the time we'll have a musical idea, like a melody and some chords. And that's often Mari who has the musical ideas, and then she shows them to me, and I'll kind of take that and go somewhere else and try to write some lyrics to it based on how I feel about the melody. And then I'll go back and show that to Mari, and she'll give me some constructive criticism, and we'll kind of, yeah. So it's a really, I've grown to appreciate that process very much, and I think it makes us better than we would be separately, because the other one, I'm sure you know all about this, but the other person can push you to kind of work after you thought that this is good enough. The other person can tell you, no, you should, there's some stuff in here that can be improved. And that,
Yeah.
and for me, is super helpful.
And having
So it's
someone that you're comfortable hearing that from and okay with hearing that from too is really nice.
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having a chat. It's been so interesting talking to you about your songwriting, and your dynamic as a band is so interesting.
Yeah. Hopefully we can see you in person sometime soon.
Yes,
Yes.
we hope so
Love
too.
that.
Thank you so much for talking
you.
to us.
All right.
Bye.
Okay. Goodbye.